Hi class, this is Instructor Fran, and I wanted to make a little screencast for you of how to integrate quotes and paraphrases into your body paragraph. I think this is a tricky point for a lot of people because they just haven't been taught how to do it before, but hopefully this video will help you. So just want to start with, I'm going to write, let's pretend I'm writing an essay, that the thesis statement is, running is a superior form of exercise because it is convenient and because it improves both physical and mental health. Okay, so let's take that as my thesis statement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to target what my third body paragraph would be, which is the mental health part. And I'm going to, on the fly, so this makes me a little nervous that I'm doing this on the fly, but I'll go through how I would create a paragraph with you. And I guess I shouldn't say it's completely on the fly because I did brainstorm before I thought it, before I started this video. So let's think, what would we want to start our body paragraph with? And to me, the most logical thing to start your body paragraph with is your topic sentence. Okay, and I'm going to format this correctly. So for body paragraphs, paragraphs in an essay are going to be indented and then they're going to be double spaced. So I just want you to see what that looks like as we do this, okay? So I came up with this as my topic sentence. Running has been proven to improve mental health. Okay, I'm probably going to want to revise because I don't really like I've proven and prove right next to each other, but we'll come back to that. This is just a draft. So running has been proven to improve mental health. Okay, now basically when you're writing an essay, an academic essay, you don't want to just communicate to people that something is the case because everyone knows that or because you think so or just because. We want to have proof. So if I'm going to write a paragraph about running has been proven that running helps people's mental health, I don't really want to just come up with an anecdote about how it helps somebody I know or me or whatever. I really want to try and find proof of that being the case because one incident of something doesn't necessarily show proof. It could have been a coincidence. So what I do is I use quotes or paraphrases as my evidence. I would sit and think, okay, how am I going to prove that running improves mental health? Well, I had to have known in the beginning that it does something. Okay, so this one I'm probably, and I'll show you in a minute, we're going to look at some sources that I found. Okay, when I get to my body paragraph of running being convenient, well, let's think of the difference there. Convenient is sort of a judgment call, so I could probably come up with reasons of my own that I come up with in my own mind of how running's convenient. I don't know whether that necessarily needs to be proven, but all you need is a pair of shoes and and you can do it from anywhere. So there's a lot of reasons I can prove convenience without using hard evidence, but if I'm going to make a claim that it's improving mental health, then I'm going to need some statistics or facts or quotes from experts about that. Okay, so basically what you're going to see is when I piece together my body paragraph, I might not go in the complete order that I want everything. Okay? But the basic order that I'm going to want is I'm going to want to have my topic sentence, and then, excuse me, I'm going to want to have my details. If I use quotes or paraphrases, then I need to have some context for that quote or paraphrase before the quote or paraphrase. And then I need my citations following them. And then this is the really key part, is if you use evidence, somebody else's words, then what you need to do is you need to use your own words to tie that back into your main point, into your topic sentence, and then therefore your thesis. So what I did was I did some research and I found 2 journal articles that talked about running improving mental health. And I just copied and pasted all the information that I could about that into a Word document. Okay, I took a quote, I made sure to write down the name of the quote, where it came from, all the information, okay, so that I could cite it properly later. And then same with the second one. Okay, and then what I did as a little prep beforehand was this first one says 30 minutes of run. This is a direct quote. 30 minutes of running in the morning during weekdays for 3 consecutive weeks impacted positively on sleep and psychological functioning in healthy adolescents compared with control subjects. Okay, so that's talking about specifically about running helping with mindset. Okay, the second one, and that was that I'm going to use the quote. I'm going to quote it. Okay? And down here you can see I prepared that. According to Kalak et al., there's a lot of people in the study, more than 3. So I put this abbreviation and I put the year and then I put the quote. It's word for word, so I have to put it in quotation marks. And then I counted down what paragraph number it was in. Okay, and put that following. Okay, so here's a quote I'm going to use. Another great piece of information I found was in the Harvard Health Letter, and it was reported there, and I copied and pasted the exact quote there, but I wanted it to be a paraphrase. What I did was I read this information and put it in my own words, just read it, thought about it, put it in my own words. I still need to paraphrase it because it's not my study, that's not I came up with it. But I have, according to Godman, the executive editor of Harvard Health Letter, researchers at University of British Columbia observed that the size of the part of the brain associated, let's put this in, with verbal memory and learning increases through regular aerobic exercise. Okay, and you notice I have that properly cited beforehand. I have the year and the paragraph number. Okay, so these are two pieces of information. One's a quote, one's a paraphrase. That these studies are going to drive my essay. They're going to help me prove my point. Okay, so the biggest thing I'm going to have to think about is what order I want to put them in. Do I want to talk about verbal memory and learning first, or do I, which is a little more vague because it says aerobic exercise. Running isn't the only type of aerobic exercise, but, and then this one, the previous one, the 30 minutes of running, is very specific to running. So I think I'm going to start with that one first. So what I do sometimes is I'm going to just piece together my body paragraph. I'm going to have to fill stuff in, but that's okay. But I'm going to take my first quote. It's all properly cited and ready to go. Okay, I'll go back to my notes and I'm going to get my paraphrase. Now, the key is it's going to be really disjointed if I don't fill in with context and explanations. It's going to seem like this is all out of place. Okay, so running has been proven to improve mental health. Again, this is really bothering me, but we'll come back to that. Okay, how am I going to lead into this idea of running? Okay. Well, I'm going to just give a little context for it. I'm going to say one recent study showed that regular running helped. And I just need to think, well, what's let's see. The mental health of adolescents in 2 specific ways. Okay, so I'm not giving all of the information away yet. I'm just kind of giving a little background that there's a study and it helped running, and this is that running helps mental states. So I just gave just a 1-sentence sort of lead in, little context, so that the brain of the reader is ready to understand what you're saying. Okay, so let's read what I have so far. Running has been proven to improve mental health. One recent study showed that regular running helped the mental health of adolescents. Kalak et al., 30 minutes of running in the morning during weekdays for 3 consecutive weeks impacted positively on sleep and psychological functioning in healthy adolescents compared with control subjects. Okay. That's pretty profound. Notice just one thing, that I have the font all consistently looking the same. Sometimes when you cut and paste quotes, it's going to have a different kind of font. You want to make that the same. Okay, so how can it might seem evident to us, the writers, that this proves my point. Okay, but how am I going to tie this back in? Okay, I want to say something like, because this study specifically mentions running, it, um, it it's fairly significant. So it is significant that running in particular was proven to help young adults with their mindset, and that it was not, I want to say something like, it's not an outrageous. So I'm revising as I go. So how am I going to say it's outrageous, not outrageous? Well, one way to say that is modest. So I'm going to go back. This is how when I write, I have to think. I don't like how I say something. I have to go back. It's significant that a modest amount of running in particular, was proven to help young adults with their mindsets. Okay. Yet another study supports this idea. So now I'm trying to provide context for a connector to my second piece of evidence. Yet another study supports this idea that running helps mental health. Okay. And I know I have according to again, that might be something that I want to revise, because I have according to start this quote. According to start this quote, that's a little bit redundant, but this is just a draft, so that's okay for now. According to Godman, the executive editor of Harvard Health Letter, researchers at University of British Columbia observed that the size of the part of the brain associated with verbal memory and learning increases through regular aerobic exercise. Okay. So now I want to tie this back in. Okay, and this is, remember, when I was sort of brainstorming, I was remembering that running isn't the only type of aerobic exercise, but that's okay. I can still help it prove my point. Although running is not the only form of aerobic exercise, is not the only thing. It is one of the most convenient, okay, as I proved, for many people. If running, therefore, can help many aspects. So now I'm sort of wrapping it up. How can I bring together all of these points that I made? Okay, so I'm going to kind of conclude it. Running, therefore, can help many aspects of mental health, including sleep, psychological functioning. Okay, we're going to try and think of another word for that, because that's, what does that even mean exactly? And learning and memory. Okay, so I sort of summed up all the mental aspects that running can help with. Okay, now this is a draft. This is a draft. There's things, like I said, I don't like. I don't like proven and improve. I don't like this idea of psychological functioning. I'd probably want to go back and look at the study in more detail and see what does that mean and try and come up with my own words for that here, so I'm not being too redundant. Okay, but this is the basic format that I like to follow when I'm writing a body paragraph. Lead with my topic sentence. Okay, I'm going to have context for my first piece of evidence. Have my evidence properly cited. Okay, you can review in week 4. I have a video on how to properly cite in text. Okay, and then follow your evidence with an explanation. You have to draw that line directly for your reader. Don't make your evidence seem like it obviously supports your point. You need to explain how it does support your point. Okay? And then I've chosen to include both this quote and a paraphrase. Okay, remember the paraphrase, I read something and put it in my own words, but it's still going to be cited. Okay, so I have a connection to the second, context for the second study here. Okay, a lead-in phrase that kind of says why I should take this information seriously. Harvard, big name, okay, University of British Columbia study. And then I have my paraphrase properly cited, and then I explain how this second piece of information proves my point, and then I kind of try and wrap it up if I can. Okay, sometimes the wrap up can seem overly redundant, sometimes it seems like it helps. Couple key things to realize. I did not write my paragraph and then tack on my paraphrase or my quote at the end. That's not how we use evidence. We use evidence to drive our point, not as an afterthought. Okay, you always want to conclude a paragraph with your own thoughts rather than somebody else's. Yeah, so hopefully that helped. Definitely, if you have questions, you can contact me. And the feedback you get on your body, sometimes you just have to jump in and give it a try. Okay, but the feedback that you get on your body paragraph should help you with this effort. Okay.